Tonight on Hotty Toddy News, a severe weather advisory is in effect for Lafayette County. Find out how bad conditions will get and when you can expect them to be over. As the conflict between Ukraine and Russia persists, we talked to one student who has personal insight on the dispute. And European conflicts aren't the only thing escalating. Residents are digging into their wallets as rent prices are rising nationally. We have that and more coming up. Hotty Toddy News starts now.
From the School of Journalism and New Media on the campus of the University of Mississippi, this is Hotty Toddy News.
Hello and welcome to Hotty Toddy News. I'm Jason Price. The National Weather Service has issued a wind advisory for Lafayette County that should last until 9 p.m. this evening. Wind speeds are predicted to be 20 to 30 miles per hour, with some gusts reaching up to 50 miles per hour. Residents are encouraged to secure outdoor objects and be cautious when driving. Paired with the wind is a high chance of rain going into the evening, so stay dry and stay safe. On Monday, the university loosened its mask restrictions to only be required in teaching and health settings. But that change has left students and faculty alike confused about where masks are required. Reporter Annabelle Kinney went to clear up that confusion.
The University of Mississippi loosened its mask and COVID-19 requirements in light of a decline in COVID cases on campus, and many students are relieved.
Yeah, I'm really happy the university lifted its mask mandate. I think it gives the students more freedom.
Masks are now required only in instructional settings and healthcare environments and optional in public spaces such as libraries, dining halls, and office spaces, regardless of vaccination status. However, this new mask policy is creating confusion because some buildings still have mask requirements up while others do not. Student Mallory Glass has a class in the library and is confused on whether a mask is required or not in that setting.
Do I have to wear my mask while I'm in that class even though it's in the library, or is it just like official classrooms? So maybe a little bit more detail about those kinds of things. But
in an auditorium setting like this one that can fit over 200 people, students are wondering whether they have to wear a mask.
You would need to ask whoever
Academic
the
Innovation
person
Executive
is there
Bob
that would be in
Cummings
charge of
says that
And
when
so
in
that
doubt,
would be
just
the
ask.
instructor if it's in a classroom.
As for people who do wish to wear a mask, there are plenty located all over campus. For Hotty Toddy News, I'm Annabelle Kinney.
There are currently 14 active coronavirus cases on campus, and today the state of Mississippi reported the lowest new case total in over 2 months. In national news, the conflict between Ukraine and Russia continues as shots were fired across a ceasefire line in eastern Ukraine today. Pressure has been building between the countries for more than 2 months now, leading to Russia moving 150,000 troops to their border with Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin denies that an invasion is coming, but President Joe Biden and allies assure Ukrainians there will be a swift response if Russia invades. Reporter Peyton Taylor met with a native Ukrainian student to get his view on the budding conflict. He joins us now. Peyton?
Thanks, Jason. As the threat of a potential Russian invasion of Ukraine has the international community panicking, there are others right here in Oxford who feel the effects of this conflict in a more personal way. One of those being Ukrainian native Igor Makarov. Makarov is a junior at the University of Mississippi studying as a foreign exchange student. He has enjoyed his time at the university, but with the tensions rising between his homeland and Russia, Makarov has found himself worrying for his loved ones back home who live just over 100 miles from the Russian border.
Of course, I am deeply concerned about my parents because they're there in Ukraine, and in case something happens, I don't know what would they do.
As a political science major, Makarov says that he hopes Russia's aggression is no more than just a few empty threats.
Things don't sound quite rational, like invading the Ukraine would be the economic disaster for Russia.
Ole Miss professor Joshua First specializes in Russia-Ukraine relations. He believes that this conflict is so unpredictable because no one can predict the next step.
I think it's so unpredictable because I don't think the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, even knows what he's prepared to do or not to do.
The latest news comes from a shelling in the northeast portion of Ukraine, which the Biden administration worries may be used as a pretext for a Russian invasion of the European nation.
The problem here is that he's backed himself into the corner where to justify this incredible cost of a military buildup along Ukraine's borders, he's gonna have to get a win.
As for now, Makarov is on standby, awaiting the newest development in this international conflict.
In case something happens, I'm not sure whether I can get back. So I would consider all the possible options here, how to stay there, maybe here, I mean, in the U.S.
Makarov is slated to return home from Oxford at the end of the semester. For Hotty Toddy News, I'm Peyton Taylor.
Thanks, Peyton. Just a few months ago, we told you that experts expected gas prices to decrease. However, that has not been the case. Day after day, prices are steadily rising. Reporter Terrigan Dixon wanted to find out why.
It's ridiculous.
I'm not happy about it.
It makes me sad.
Feel like we're getting robbed.
Gas prices have hit an all-time high, with the Consumer Price Index reporting a 7.5% increase in a year. It's the largest inflation surge in 40 years. In Mississippi, the average price per gallon has jumped 15 cents in just 6 weeks. Cashier at the Chevron gas station, Catherine Reagan, is upset about the increase in prices.
Makes me mad, sad, and everything else. Because you're working for your money and it's going into trying to get here.
Although Mississippi has the lowest average gas price in the nation at $3.09, it is 95 cents more expensive than it was at this time last year.
Being a single mom, and having to take care, make sure my child has what she needs and the house has what it needs, the gas prices are kind of insane.
High gas prices are even forcing customers such as Trent Butler to buy a car with lower gas mileage.
I used to have a four-wheel drive truck and be able to drive what I wanted to drive, and it's aggravating in the fact that I can't do that anymore just because I can't afford to put $90 worth of gas twice a week.
As a result, national legislation is considering gas tax suspension to combat surging gas inflation. Terrigan Dixon, Hotty Toddy News.
Thanks, Terrigan. As gas prices rise, increasing rent prices are making it hard to find an affordable place to live. Reporter Ivone Garcia caught up with Oxford residents to see how the rising prices are affecting the community.
Rent prices have been increasing steadily during the last year, and Oxford residents are feeling the financial burden.
I definitely notice it, and it kind of just irks me a little bit because it's just kind of like an unnecessary raise in my rent price.
Higher rent prices makes it difficult to find an affordable place to live in Oxford. Apartment complexes like the Domain raised their prices. Rent last year was $425 a month, and now residents are having to pay $500. Marketing and leasing director Denver Haggard for the Domain says that this year rent rose $20 more than before.
We are on a tiered system, which means our rates start at the lowest, and as the year and the leasing season goes on, they climb.
And Domain resident Jack McIntyre says that rent increases are unfair.
People need more money now. Things are kind of tight for some people, maybe not for big places like the Domain. But as a college student, I work 1 to 2 jobs depending on how much money I need.
For now, McIntyre is not planning to renew the lease with Domain and will be looking for a cheaper option somewhere else. Ivone Garcia, Hotty Toddy News.
Real estate company Redfin released a survey stating that average monthly listed rent in the U.S. rose 14% in 2021, much higher than the 3% increase in 2020. In February is Black History Month, and the Department of African American Studies is celebrating a big donation. Reporter Cameron Evans has a closer look at the donation.
February is Black History Month, and while the University of Mississippi has been celebrating through a series of events, the African American Studies Department received an anonymous donation of $100,000. Interim Director Derek Harrell says he's extremely pleased.
Ecstatic. I was completely ecstatic when we found out that we were receiving the anonymous donation.
The UM Foundation knows where the donation came from, but the donor requested to stay anonymous.
They've given me kind of some loose idea of who that person could be, not name, but where that person lives and what they look like, kind of a thing. Age kind of bracket, kind of a thing. And so based on that information, we were able to write a thank you letter.
He says the donation will help retain current students, but also help recruit future students.
Made me most excited, and knowing that for the next 4, 5, 6 years that we would have financial resources for our bright African American Studies major students.
This department will receive a donation in lump sums over the next couple of years. And this is Cameron Evans with Hotty Toddy News.
In honor of Black History Month, the university has hosted a multitude of events. The Black Student Union will help close out the month, hosting the 9th annual Black History Month Gala on Friday, February 25th at 6 p.m. On to sports, the Rebel men's basketball team took a hard loss Tuesday night, losing to South Carolina by an overtime buzzer beater with a final score of 77-74. The Gamecocks controlled the game on the defensive side of the ball, forcing 18 turnovers and 12 steals on the way to their victory. Head coach Kermit Davis commented on the buzzer beater after the game, saying that teams just seem to make those plays against his squad. Ole Miss hopes to bounce back Saturday when they take on a 6-19 Georgia Bulldogs team in Athens at noon. And from the hardwood to the diamond, the 5th-ranked Rebel baseball team returns to action tomorrow in an opening series against Charleston Southern. First pitch tomorrow is at 4:15, and no matter the weather, be prepared for showers in Swayze. Staying in the ballpark, Rebel softball is headed to the Troy Invitational this weekend to play Nicholls State, Eastern Kentucky, and Troy. Action begins tomorrow at 10 a.m. And that's all for this week. You can find all of our shows as well as the latest updates on the Oxford Lafayette community on HottyToddy.com. I'm Jason Price. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.